Some have referred to weak signal VHF and UHF as the most addictive, most rewarding, and sometimes the most frustrating thing you can do in ham radio. Let's take a look at this new product from Icom that can help you take on this challenging world. Hey everyone, welcome back to the DX Engineering channel. I'm Michael KI8R. The higher in frequency you go, the more feed line loss becomes a problem, especially on VHF and UHF. Icom has come up with a way to overcome this problem by putting the radio at the antenna, something the cellular industry has been doing for years. The IC-905 is an all-mode radio, which covers 2 meters, 430, 1.2, 2.4, and 5 gigahertz. There's also an optional transverter covering the 10 gigahertz band. This rig supports CW, sideband, FM, AM, amateur television, data modes such as FT8 and JT65, along with D-Star. Output power is 10 watts on two 440 and 1.2 gigs, and 2 watts on 2.4 and 5 gigs. With the optional 10 gigahertz transverter, the output power is about half a watt. Current drain is less than 5.5 amps on transmit and typically 2 amps on receive. If you're familiar with the IC-705, you'll find the IC-905 to be very similar. Both radios are the same physical size. And while the face of the radio and the menus are similar, when you look around on the sides and the back of the rigs, you'll find that they are very different. Comparing the ports on the left side of the 905 controller to the 705, you'll find that 905 has a number of connections that the 705 does not, including AV input and output for amateur television. Comparing the right side of these rigs, you can see the 905 controller has a LAN port along with a PoE LAN cable connection for the RF module. There's also a USB Type-C connector as well. The 100 base LAN connector supports time synchronization via an NTP server. It also supports remote control when using the RSBA1 software. The LAN connector also supports gateway communication via D-Star and picture transfer from a PC to a mobile device. Now on the rear of the controller is a heatsink. There's a caution label that says, "Hot surface, do not touch," and it does get surprisingly warm. Also, the 905 does not have an option for an attached battery like the 705. Let's look at the features of this radio. The Icom 905 includes a 4.3-inch Vivid touchscreen, an on-screen keyboard, Ethernet connector, a real-time spectrum scope with a waterfall display, a band scope that supports up to 50 megahertz span, a built-in GPS, USB-C port, a full-size SD card slot which supports 2 GB to 32 GB SD cards, one-touch FT8 mode preset, supports a 1/4-20 tripod mount for the control unit, 500 memory channels that can be divided in up to 100 groups, 2,500 repeater memories, and is remotely controllable via Icom's RSBA1 software. Frequency coverage is on 2 meters from 144 to 148 megahertz, on the 70 centimeter band from 430 to 450 megahertz, on 23 centimeters from 1240 to 1300 megahertz, on 13 centimeters from 2300 to 2309.99 and 2390 to 2450 megahertz, on 5 centimeters from 5650 to 5925 megahertz, and with the optional 10 gig unit, 10.0 to 10.5 gigahertz. One thing to note is that this is a ham band only radio. It won't receive weather, aircraft, or commercial frequencies. Frequency accuracy and stability is achieved by using the built-in GPS-controlled oscillator. The control unit pairs with the RF unit. It comes with a heavy-duty stainless steel mounting bracket for mounting on a mast or a tower. The RF unit is powered by Power over Ethernet from the supplied 5-meter or 16.4-foot control cable. On the front of the RF unit, you'll find the pigtail for the PoE control cable, the 10 MHz reference output, and the accessory connector. Both the 10 MHz reference output and the accessory connector are for the optional 10 GHz transverter. On the rear of the unit, you'll find a Type-In connector for two 440 and 1200 MHz, a pair of SMA connectors for 2.4 and 5 gigs, and the GPS antenna connector. The optional 10 GHz transverter is connected to the accessory connector and the 10 MHz reference on the RF unit. The IF frequency is 2.4 gigs. So the 2.4 gigs connector from the RF unit is attached to the 2.4 gig IF input. There are also antenna ports from 2.4 gig and 10 gigahertz on the transverter. The 905 is compatible with ATV in analog mode and supports NTSC, PAL, or CCAM. With an analog camera connected, the 905 can transmit video. It will also receive real-time video, and received videos can be shown on the display or with a monitor that has a composite video input. The 905 only works with ATV on 1200 MHz and above. ATV on this radio is not compatible with the legacy Icom 1271 and 1275 series radios, since they only transmit ATV in analog AM mode. Optional accessories include the CX10G 10 GHz transverter, the AH24, AH56, and AH100 collinear antennas, and the AHPB 10 GHz parabolic antenna. Also available are the 20 meter 65.6 feet and 50 meter 164 feet control cables. So, who is this radio for? When I first saw this radio, my first thought was that, hey, this is the perfect radio for those who operate as rovers in VHF contests, particularly those who are interested in the SHF bands. But after thinking about this for a while, I realized that this is also a great radio for home use as well. And along with rovers, there seems to be a growing number of folks in the Summits on the Air or SOTA community who are active on the higher bands. This could be a lot of fun for a drive-up summit. And up until now, there has not been a commercial option for getting on the SHF bands other than by using transverters. The IC-905 solves this problem by giving you an integrated solution with up to 6 bands. In the time I've had this radio on my desk, I found it to be a very capable radio and a lot of fun to play with. You can find more information on the 905 at the DX Engineering website, along with the basic and advanced manuals. Let us know in the comments if you have one of these radios and how you're using it. Thanks for watching. I'm Michael KI8R, and we'll catch you on the next one.